Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to Monday night. Here we are, live again. It's great to be with you guys. Been away for a little bit. I'm sorry about that. I know that you guys have been kind of anxious for us to get back, to get on topic, to be talking about things that are relevant to your search for an international life mate. If you're here for the first time, where you been, for crying out loud, man? We've been doing this for the last, I don't know, 17, 18 years, something like that. It's been quite a streak we've had going here. This started out as a conference call in 2001, and thanks to some great technology and the man behind the scenes, whose name is Kirk, who's absolutely awesome, who made all this happen for us. We've just taken this whole entire Monday night thing to another level. So we're here tonight to talk about some of our upcoming programs that you can participate in if you'd like to meet somebody. We've got seminars, free international dating seminars, which are amazing and life-defining. We're going to definitely talk a little bit about those. I've got an interesting topic for you tonight. I want to talk specifically about why women attend our social events, our famous international social parties, if you will. And sometimes if a woman chooses not to, which certainly is the case some of the time, we'll talk a little bit about why that might be as well. And we'll answer your questions, whatever questions you want to ask tonight about anything that we do. Yeah, so there's a green box above me that tells you how you can text your question to me. Click it, send me your question. I'll see you on my admin panel, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. We'll do that throughout the show tonight, all right? Sound good? All right, so guys, before I forget, this Wednesday night, the first Wednesday of every month, at the same time, same place, right here, we will be doing a live webcast with Greg and Glenda, and maybe even baby Vinny, I don't know. But Greg and Glenda are one of our lovely couples. Greg is from Phoenix. Glenda is from Davao in the Philippines. And she's charming and beautiful, and they're a great couple, and Greg's my buddy. We used to work together. I enjoyed that very much. They're here every Wednesday night, every first Wednesday of the month, which will certainly be the case 2 nights from now, to answer your questions specifically about women from the Philippines, international relationships with women from the Philippines, travel to the Philippines, etc. So if you have your eye on the Philippines, and I completely understand that, we have a few girls from the Philippines who work in our offices, who are married to some of our clients and coworkers, and they're just fabulous, man. I just love our girls from the Philippines here, Bonnie and Merlin. It's wonderful to have them. So yeah, anyway, all right, guys, this Wednesday night, mark that on your calendar, okay? For the rest of the evening, we're going to talk about stuff related to travel to Ukraine, maybe China, Latin America in general. We're looking at video footage from very recent social events in Ukraine. Why are we doing that? Because we have some upcoming singles excursions to the Ukraine. I will be leading those. I'm excited. I'm stoked. I've got an incredibly cool group of dudes who are going to be traveling with me in July. And if you would like to go with us to meet some of these very beautiful women, man, you should do that. You should be calling me up and engaging me so we can talk a little bit about that. And perhaps if we're going to be in a city near you, you should come out and see us. If you are at our home web page, you can see front and center some information about our upcoming free international dating seminars, right, guys? You got a list of seminars from now until the end of the year. We got a whole bunch of them up there, right? And if you have a look, man, we're coast to coast, north and south, guys, right? I mean, we are, for most of you who are watching us tonight, we are definitely going to be in your city or a city near you between now and the end of the year. And if you have the opportunity to join us for an international dating seminar, man, you should come out and do that. Why? They are quite interesting. They give you a ton of incredibly helpful information. We talk a lot about what international dating is, and we talk a lot about how to get on a plane and go and meet some of these beautiful women, why they're here, how is that different, I guess, from culture to culture. So in other words, why are women from the Philippines here? Why are women from Ukraine? Why are the women from China here? How is that similar? How is that different? And we talk a lot about why you're here. We talk a great deal about that during our seminars, because I think it helps guys to understand why you're here. It really does. I don't want to take something for granted here. Sometimes what I find is a lot of men, there are tens of thousands of incredibly lonely men in every city that we go to. And the question becomes, what are men doing about their loneliness? And that's really one of the most interesting topics of our seminar. How men are spending years and years and years literally doing nothing about their loneliness when there are so many incredibly beautiful women who are as lonely out there waiting to be discovered by them. So we try and just peel away a lot of the stuff that confuses guys and possibly frustrates guys and keeps them from getting on a plane to go and meet somebody. Everything I possibly can do, everything we can possibly talk about to get you on a plane out in front of these beautiful women. Because here's the deal, guys. Your one big takeaway from tonight and every Monday night: these women are real. This opportunity is real. You know, the cultural pressures, if you will, the cultural symptoms that drive women to us, that create so many beautiful, lonely, alluring women in the first place, those are all very, very real. If you get on a plane and travel with us, we'll introduce you to these very beautiful women, and you can understand this incredible opportunity and find love. All right, anyway, so we talk about a lot of stuff in our international dating seminars. We got tons of them coming up, and specifically, I've got a lot of work to do this month because I'm going to be in Baltimore, Maryland this Sunday from 11 to 3 doing a seminar for you all out there. I already got 25 guys signed up for that seminar, guys. So if you want to go to the seminar in Baltimore, you got to let me know, bud@loveme.com, and I'll save you a seat. And then the weekend after that, on the 23rd, Saturday, I'm going to be in Dana Point, California. And then the last weekend of the month, June 30th and July 1st, I'm going to be in Miami, Florida, and Tampa, Florida, respectively. So Baltimore, Dana Point, Miami, and Tampa, all in the next 30 days. That's crazy, right? And then we got Indianapolis and St. Louis on deck in the month of July, and then we've got the July tour underway, and then we'll come back in August, and you can see them all there, guys. If you're at Love Me, just go to the front and center homepage where it talks about our seminar schedule, and you'll see sooner or later we're definitely getting out to your city or someplace that's real close to you, right? And you should come out and sit with us for 3 or 4 hours, talk about what we do, talk about why you're here, how to meet these beautiful women, how to create a real exciting, life-defining courtship, love relationship that probably leads to marriage. It doesn't have to. I mean, you know, whatever adults decide to do, if they're happy courting each other, great, we're happy with that. But many of you want to find a life partner. If you're going to fall in love with somebody from another country, it would kind of suck if you don't get to see each other all the time. So most of you are going to want to conclude that courtship in marriage, and we have, you know, great advice on how to do that, processes and steps that you have to go through that will guide you through, and resources for you. At the end of the day, you don't have to be alone. You can find your life mate. You can give your love to somebody who's beautiful and real, as your love will be. We'll talk about all that in our national dating seminars coming up between now and the end of the year. And then, as I mentioned, in July, oh boy, guys, we got quite a situation going on in July, man. I got 2 3-city tours, and if you piggyback them together, I got 1 6-city tour. We're going to cover a lot of ground. This will be probably my 4th or 5th July tour in a row. This will be my 22nd, 23rd, I lost count, quite honestly, tour as a tour leader in July. I already know at least half the guys on these upcoming tours. It's a great, spectacular group of guys. We're going to have a lot of fun. Guaranteed hilarity, guaranteed a lot of laughs, definitely some great social events, some incredibly beautiful women that are going to come out to meet you guys. We're going to have fun, guys. We're going to have a life-defining, truly once-in-a-lifetime event, and I hope you can participate in it. I know a lot of you guys are ready to go and meet somebody. You're tired of being alone. Whatever you've been doing, chatting, texting, writing, you're sick of that. It doesn't fulfill you anymore, and you're ready for the next thing. And the next thing is a live person in your life. You know, truly beautiful person to give your love to. So come out to our seminars. Let's talk about that, and let's talk about it throughout the presentation tonight. We're looking at video footage from recent socials in Ukraine. And I love to look at the video footage. I love to see the men and the women interacting. I love to see how people are meeting each other, and within minutes they're incredibly comfortable with each other. I love that. I really do. And I see guys who are kind of nervous because they're meeting beautiful women in high numbers. You can tell that there's some nervous energy going on. But you see from the women, you see a lot of great body language, a lot of great eye contact, a lot of smiles, a lot of affirming messages. You know, I like you, you're interesting, don't be so nervous, it's okay, glad you're here, I want to talk to you, I want to meet you, I'd love to spend time with you. You can see those messages coming through in the body language between the men and the women, and I love to watch that. It's just one of my favorite things to see in what we do. So all right, enjoy that video footage, guys, and I'm telling you what, this is no lie, man. If you're looking at this video footage and you want to be in it, and you want to be meeting these women and interacting with them like this, you can totally do that. So it's June, right? And recently I've been thinking about my goals for the year and my progress toward those goals. And I don't mind admitting that I had some pretty good, pretty lofty, but some really good goals for the year, personal goals mostly. And I definitely have gotten started on those goals. And I've definitely made a little bit of progress toward those goals. But man, it's June. I'm nowhere near where I thought I would be by now. And I absolutely need to kick it up to another level. And I need to do it this month in order to reach my goals for the year. So I'm focused on that, definitely. You know, there's no wishy-washy way of getting things done, guys, right? I mean, you either want to get it done or you don't. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right? The way I do one thing is the way we do everything. So if I take a half-hearted approach to any particular goal, I'm probably taking a half-hearted approach to all my goals, and it's good to remember that. The point is, there's still plenty of time this year for you to get up off the couch, away from your computer chair, put the keyboard down, get on a plane, go meet these beautiful real women, have a real courtship, real romance, and real love experience. All kinds of that going on for you. All right, guys, if you got questions, I'll answer them, and then we'll jump into my topic for tonight, where we're going to talk a little bit about why women come to the socials. I mean, if they don't come to the socials, why they don't. I think it's interesting that there's a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding, just from some of the comments that we get on some of our webcasts, if you will, some of our videos on such. Just some of the things that guys think are going on at social events are just way off. So I'm going to kind of correct the perception a little bit by talking about the real reasons why women come to social events, and if they don't come, perhaps some of the reasons why they don't. Some of your questions first. Melvin says, thinking about possibly switching things up and trying Peru. Melvin's been trying Ukraine. It seems like a good country with good women. So we already talked about Greg and Glenda this Wednesday night, same time, same place, guys. A webcast about the Philippines. Melvin, you know, as I mentioned to you earlier today, I think Peru is a great opportunity for you, a great opportunity for anyone. Peru is probably one of our least talked about destinations around the world. We got lots and lots of really great women there, and we have nowhere near the number of men who go to Peru compared to the number of women who are there for you. So if you go to Peru, my friend, it's all yours. It really is. And there are some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women in Peru. We also have one of our best international staffs in Peru. People have been with us for years and years and years. A great manager, so you'll be in really, really good hands. So amen to that, Mel. Do it. Billy is asking, are the women of Ukraine open to African Americans, or is biracial dating out of the question for these ladies? It's definitely not out of the question, Billy. You know, I think most of them are quite open to it. I think for some people, you know, the melting pot in Ukraine is it's pretty specific. It's pretty Slavic. So to a certain extent, what I find is there's just a lack of exposure to other ethnicities sometimes, right? So sometimes it isn't like there's any hesitation. It's just a lack of exposure, and occasionally women sometimes just don't know how to react to meeting men of other heritage. I know that sounds funny, but it's true, Billy. But the bottom line is, you shouldn't hesitate. You should totally go, be yourself. As long as you keep it as real as anyone else would need to, you'll be fine. You'll meet a lot of very, very beautiful women, have some great dates, and I would absolutely welcome you on any tour, including the ones I'm leading in July. But I'm going to Cartagena in November, says Chris, and I'll be there for 2 weeks. Good, take me with you. For serious seekers, is there an expectation among the women to propose on the first trip? Ooh. Well, I'll tell you what. There's an excellent question. Cartagena is kind of interesting, Chris, because that is definitely a city and a country, a culture, if you will, that being Colombia, where men could meet women, have a courtship, and propose on the first trip. If the first trip was a 2-week trip and you're spending a lot of time together. I've seen that happen before. I think that, you know, women in Colombia, they definitely want a man to be serious about them before things get too far. They want you to meet the family and the parents. They want a blessing from the parents. So is there an expectation? I would say no, but if you spend enough time together in your courtship and you want that courtship to progress, I think at some point that's very much a possibility, Chris. Does that make sense, man? You know, if you're just hanging out, having a few beers on the beach, that's one thing. If you're creating a relationship that you expect is going to be completely romantic and go as deep as a romantic relationship probably would if it were an actual courtship, progressing over the period of several weeks, yeah, I think the women are probably going to want you to be quite serious. Yeah, feel free to call me up and I'll give you some more insight on that, Chris. But I think that what I'm trying to say is that I think you should limit your dating and courtship in Colombia to the women that you think you're serious about or could be serious about, if that makes any sense. Brandon says, good to have you back. Brandon, good to be back. Watching a video from Cartagena, and I realized it was my voice. And we've got Brandon's voice comments on the video. It's very cool, Brandon. Thank you for that. All signed up for Odessa. Looking forward to my second trip with AFA. Brandon, I am so glad you were going to be on that Odessa trip, my friend. Dude, seriously, I am. You can't imagine. There are no words to describe how happy I am that we're going to be together. By the way, at the end of, you probably know this, but at the end of this month, guys, in Florida, I'm going to be in Miami, and then I'm going to be in Tampa on the 30th of June and the 1st of July. So heads up, you guys in Florida, get signed up for my seminar. Get out to my seminar. You need my seminar. You want my seminar, and I want you there because I want to give you as much good information as I can. And if you're considering traveling this summer at all with us on one of our programs, if you want to come with me to Ukraine in July, I'd love to have you. You will meet guys at both of those seminars who have traveled with us in the last year. Yeah, check it out. Bud@loveme.com. Make your RSVP for the upcoming seminars this weekend, this Sunday in Baltimore, the following Sunday in Dana Point, California, actually San Clemente at this point. And then at the last weekend of the month, we'll be in Miami and Tampa. RSVP for those seminars, guys, please, bud@loveme.com. Chris says, I've been corresponding with several women getting ready for my trip. One in particular, if she shows up, she'll be coming very far. She's coming from outside of the city where we'll be on tour. Should I focus on her if she comes, or should I risk being rude? Well, so this is one of those things where we're writing to a woman who's outside of the city that we're traveling to for our singles tour. And she's going to come into the city to spend some time. So how much time should I spend with her, and should I court her exclusively? I would say you should not court her exclusively unless you meet her and want to do that. If you want to do that, great. We'll be very, very happy for you. I think you should plan a little bit of time together. And I think the two of you together should decide that you will decide after your time together how to go forward. And I think that's the expectation that you should create. Let's meet, let's spend time together. Whether she says it or not, whether she puts it in writing or not, she hasn't made her mind up about you. Not at all. If you haven't met face to face, I promise you, Chris, she hasn't. She may be very hopeful. She might be really excited, but I guarantee you she's not convinced yet that you're right for each other. Women rarely do that until you've met face to face. So I would just admit to each other, let's spend some time together. Let's have a great time, a very happy and romantic time, and let's see where it goes. And if we like each other, we can commit to more time together, and I'll act on that right away. And just do that. Just set it up properly so the two of you have the right expectation, and you will be good. We're looking at video footage from recent socials in Ukraine. That is last summer's July tour. Some of these gentlemen will be accompanying me on this summer's July tour because I just can't get enough, and I can't wait to have them. So it's going to be good times. Good times, guys. Continue to ask your questions to me, Bud, by clicking the green box above me that tells you can text me your question. I'll see it up on my admin panel, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. But I want to talk about our social events, our kind of world famous, if you will, international social programs. The social parties are fun. You've heard a lot about them. You've heard that word social. It pops up all over the internet. We're talking about, individual tours and that kind of thing. So what are social events? What's going on with social events? You hear various comments from mostly uninformed guys talking about why women come to socials and why they don't come to socials. And I'm going to tell you right now information you can absolutely take to the bank. Why women come to social events in the 8 countries where we currently host them. Why do the women come to the social events? What's in it for them? What are their motives? What are they looking for? What do they stand to gain by coming to our social events? It's my friend Alex from Salt Lake City and his beautiful wife. They met at one of our social events. I took this picture, and I just met them a few weeks ago at a seminar that I was doing in Salt Lake City, and what a blessing it is to know people like Alex and his lovely wife. His name is Maya, I do believe. What can I say, man? Just every time people find each other, people like these two especially find each other, they're incredibly happy. He was bragging about what a great cook she is. He's always smiling. He's such a great personality. They are incredibly happy together. Her son, their new daughter, and I feel really good about what I do when I introduce people like this. So anyway, let's talk about why women come to our social events. So what is a single social party? First of all, let's not take that for granted. Let's talk about that. Our social parties are a part of our singles tours, which we host in 8 countries right now, right? The Philippines, Thailand, China, Costa Rica, Colombia, Ukraine, to name a few. And just like a singles cruise has parties during the singles cruise, we have parties, social parties, if you will, during our singles tours, if you will. And each of our singles social parties is about 4 hours long. Sometimes, they expand a little bit, 4.5 hours or so. And we usually host them on weekend evenings. So every singles tour that we do around the world, guys, begins on a Thursday night. And there are reasons for that. Primarily, we need 24 hours to get accustomed to our surroundings, to get relaxed, to get introduced to the staff and to each other. And Friday night, 24 hours after we start our singles event, we have our first social event on Friday night. Sometimes our second social event is on Saturday night, sometimes Sunday, sometimes even Monday. But we usually have 2 or 3, depending on the number of cities that we're visiting, but we usually have at least 2, and sometimes as many as 3 social events on a given singles tour. So, we schedule these things in advance. We work out the venues in advance. We get the guys excited. We coach the guys about what to expect. We've got translators on hand who will be working with our guys. You are, during our social events, as a member of our singles tour, you are given a translator to work with who will be yours for the evening, your partner, your buddy, if you will. And her job is to make sure you're meeting the women, that you're doing so comfortably, they're getting to know you, and you're coming away from that social with a good 4 or 5 commitments from ladies to meet you. You can go out for dates. A lot of guys will go out right after the social with a date from the social, and then they'll meet the next morning for breakfast or brunch or lunch or early afternoon with women that they've met at the social events. We always choose a very clean and comfortable venue. In some of the cities that we go to, there are only a few options. For example, the city of Poltava or the city of Sumy or the city of Kherson, it's not like there are 10 options for a social event. They're small cities, and there are only a couple of places where we can go to actually hold a city comfortable for 30 or 40 guys and, probably 300 women. So we will choose definitely a very clean and very comfortable environment, and our staff is really adept at choosing the perfect environment for a social event. They're all different. All the venues where we do our socials, they're all different. Each one has its own kind of unique personality. For example, the video that you were just looking at is from Kherson last summer. This is an outdoor club. It's beautiful. And you can imagine at night they have the fountains and the lights. It's just gorgeous. And it's quite unique. And so the women love to come to it. And you're having a social which feels like it's partially inside, partially outside. Yeah. So we always choose a very clean, comfortable, fun environment, an environment the women are going to definitely enjoy coming to. We always have champagne and some kind of festive party food, if you will. We're not serving a full-blown dinner. In Latin America, sometimes it gets to be a little bit more like dinner, if you will. It depends on the venue. But most of the time we're serving, I guess, what could be described as festive party food. It's not a full-blown dinner, but it's nice food. That may be cheese and hors d'oeuvres and wine. It might be, some kind of fruit, some kind of salad, maybe, something like herring or lox, if you will, or appetizers of some kind. But it's always nice and prepared by a chef, and the women definitely enjoy it, and the men enjoy it. So champagne and festive party food, enough to keep people fed while they're drinking over the period of 4 hours, but not enough so that it kind of becomes counterproductive to what we're trying to do, which is to meet each other and talk to each other. There's a little bit of entertainment for the men and the women. We'd like to give everyone a taste. It is a party after all, so we like to give the men and the women a taste of just kind of local entertainment, if you will. Sometimes we'll have a band. Sometimes we'll have, a dance group which will come and do a couple of dances. I remember in Sumy a couple of times we had a few belly dancers, because belly dancing is something that's very, very popular in the region. So we had a few belly dancers come and perform for us during the social. This is interesting for the women. It's interesting for the men as well. So there's always some kind of entertainment for the men and the women. And quite honestly, guys, we have so many women coming to our social events. The vast majority of them, no matter how hard we try and how hard you try, the vast majority of women at our social events are going to go home without a date. For example, if I have 30 guys at a social, 300 women at the social, and all 30 guys leave the social with 3 dates, 1 right after the social and 2 already committed for tomorrow, I got 210 women going home that night with no date. So, entertainment to a certain extent is really important, because we don't want 210 women to go home depressed and sad. We want them to feel like they had fun, and we treated them with respect, and we showed them a good time, and they got to see something that was kind of unique and interesting that most of the time people aren't going to get a chance to see easily. You will also have our interpreters and our support staff at every social event. Everywhere we go around the world, we will pair you up with a partner for the evening. You're not on your own. You don't have to navigate your way through the room. You know, we found over the years that men who were hesitating, men who were, you know, are a little bit shy and not able to go and meet the women will definitely get up and sense that. They'll get up and they'll just come to you. But we found it's more effective to pair you up with a partner to help you get to meet exactly the women that you're trying to meet in a room of 300 or 400 women. So we will pair you up with a partner interpreter. Many of our interpreters have worked with us for years and years and years, and they like us, they like what we do, they're really into it. You know, they love nice guys, they love friendly guys. Even if you're a little shy, you know, they'll definitely help you to meet the women you want to meet. They'll do a good job for you. They want you to have a favorable impression of them and their work and their interpreting. So they'll work really, really hard for you. And most of the guys really enjoy getting to know the interpreters at the social events. And again, we always have an environment that is very respectful and very fun. Everybody is treated well. Everybody is made to be comfortable. You know, the host, whoever it is, me, whoever it is, you're buzzing around the room, making sure everyone's got what they need, champagne, food, you know, an interpreter, dates, that kind of thing. That's my job as a host, to make sure that you're definitely having fun. Now, the formats are kind of mixed. In some cities, we will just let you and your interpreter wander around the room to meet whoever you want to meet. You stand back, you talk to your interpreter, you get to know each other, get her some juice, get her some champagne, talk a little bit, look around the room, who do you want to meet, talk that over with your interpreter, develop a little bit of a game plan. We do that sometimes. Sometimes we have what's called a speed dating format. And a speed dating format means you and your interpreter are going to go from table to table to table. The women aren't really up wandering around. They're seated at tables waiting for you and your tour compadres to get over there, sit down and talk to them. So your interpreter will take you from table to table and introduce you to all the women at each table and get conversation rolling so that you can get to know the ladies can get to know you, and that's a really effective format as well. So we have mixed formats. We try a few things out, and after 23 years of doing socials, we really do have this down to a science. And if you just open your heart, your mind, and put yourself out there, you definitely will meet some very, very beautiful women. So that, in a nutshell, is what our social parties are. And they're a big, big part, really the highlight, of every singles tour that we do in 8 different countries. What are we trying to accomplish for our men clients when we host a social? What are we trying to do? Well, number one, we're trying to represent you well. So when there's champagne and there's food and there's a comfortable, clean environment and there's a little bit of entertainment, we don't look cheap, you don't look cheap. That's really, really important. The women feel like they're in an environment where they're wanted, they're respected. That's really important. That reflects well on you as our client, right? If we were cheap and we threw a cheap social, that would not reflect well on you. If we chose a poor venue that wasn't comfortable, that would certainly not reflect well on you. We don't do that. We do just the opposite. We select our venues very carefully. We definitely create a fun, comfortable environment for the women. And God knows I've paid the bills on some of these socials before. Not with my money, I'm happy to say, but I pay those bills, and they're not cheap to throw at all, guys. It's like throwing a wedding reception every time. It really is. So we want socials that are well orchestrated. We want the guys to be able to get around the room with your interpreter and meet the women you want to meet, right? If they're well orchestrated, you're not struggling, you're not standing around, you're not unproductive. You are meeting exactly the women you want to meet. You're doing it comfortably. They're comfortable, they're smiling, they're relaxed, you're having a good time. It represents you so well. It's very, very important. So our check-in process where the women come, they check in at the front desk, tell us who they are, we make sure they were invited, everything is cool, and then they come inside. That whole thing is orchestrated really well by our great staff abroad. And then, of course, the entire program itself, where people are meeting, maybe a little bit of entertainment. The MC will interact with the women, dancing at the end of the night if you want to do that. All that stuff is very well orchestrated and well rehearsed. At the end of the day, we're trying very, very hard for you to accomplish your goals, to get out and meet as many women as possible. So we control the environment, and we've got lots of support staff for you to make sure that when you leave the social, you've got dates. That's what it's all about. That's why we're at the social, right? Yeah. Well, so what are we trying to accomplish for our ladies? A lot of guys take for granted that the women have expectations and needs as well. And they're not cattle. We don't herd them into a pen for you to pick and buy somebody. It's nothing like that. The women come to us with expectations. They want to meet somebody. And they want to be comfortable. And the numbers are very stacked against them, to be honest with you. It's 30, 40 guys, 300, 400 women. They know this. So what are we doing to make them comfortable? That is the most important thing. We want the women to be comfortable. We want them to feel that they're stepping into an environment where there may be 8, 9, 10 times, the women that there are men in the room, but the women are treated well, with respect, given champagne and food, a comfortable place to be, some entertainment. Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? We're trying to show the women what makes us unique, why we're not like anybody else. The word social party, the social, if you will, they've been done for years, although no one else is doing them currently. Nobody of note, anyway. They were done for years by our competitors, and I don't know that a lot of money was spent, and I don't know that they were done with a lot of class. So you hear mixed impressions of what social events are, and what makes us unique. We throw a really good social party. We do that for your sake and for the women's sake. They're stimulating. It's interesting for the women to sit and watch some of the American men meeting women and how we react to women, and how that's different from what they typically see when local men react to women. In many cases, guys, when you go to a social event, you're probably the first American man these women have ever met. They've heard a lot of good. They've probably heard some things, a little shaky. So what am I looking at here, they'll wonder. What is this? Is this a good guy with a good heart here for the right reasons? And it's interesting for them to react and to interact with you and to watch how you react to them. We certainly want the women to meet you. We want to give every girl as much of a chance as we can for her to meet you. We want as many women as possible to be able to come to our social events who have a chance to meet you guys, since you went halfway around the world and paid thousands of dollars to do that. But we want to find the right numbers so we don't completely oversaturate it and then the vast majority of women can't meet somebody. We want to show the women that we really do appreciate them, right? So as a tour leader, I'll get up on stage and say, ladies, welcome. Thank you so much for coming out to our event. Here's why we're so happy and so lucky to be here. Here's what's great about you, in case nobody's told you recently, why you're so fabulous and why we travel halfway around the world and pay thousands of dollars to meet you. You're great women. We're so lucky and so happy to be here. That is my message as the tour leader. I will get up and give that message beautifully to represent you well. And at the end of the day, again, for the vast majority of women who are going to go home without dates, we just want them to have a fun night out. Because I'll tell you what, fun night outs are rare in Ukraine. The women work a lot of hours. They don't get to go out in the evening very often. It's not like they can't go out, but they don't get to very often. They're usually home with children, saving their resources, and we just absolutely love to show them a good time because we're gentlemen and that's what we do. And we have agency partners. We have independent agencies who are an important, integral part of what we do in places like Ukraine, China, and the Philippines, and we want our agency partners to be represented well. So if they're going to tell their women, come to the social, you'll like it, trust me, this is a good company, they do a good job, you'll be okay, you'll meet guys, you're not cattle herded into a pen, anything like that. When the women come to our social event, we want the women to feel great, so they will tell their interpreter agencies, thank you very much for inviting me, thanks for helping me, thanks for being in my search. It's great, I feel good about what I'm doing here. We just reinforce all the positive things that our agency partners have been telling them about us and about you. So that's a lot, isn't it? When you think about it, guys, right? That is a lot. It's a lot of what we're trying to accomplish for our men and for our women. So why do the women come to the social events? I hear stuff like the women are just there for the free food and free champagne. I think that's hilarious. The women are just there for a free night out. I gotta tell you, whoever said that on the internet, that guy threw a party in high school and nobody came. Guarantee you, right? Look, if you're having a social event, I don't want to take anything for granted here. You should plan for that to be fun. Because if it's not, it's going to suck and people aren't going to come back, and who would blame them? A social event is what it is. If you were throwing a party at your house and inviting friends, you would feed them. You would give them something nice to drink. You would provide them with music, maybe entertainment. You would want people to mingle. And when they leave at night, you'd want them to say, dude, great party. Thanks for inviting me. That's why you entertain people. That's why you have a party, right? And that's why we have our parties, because we really like to watch people meet each other. That is absolutely what we live for. And that's why do women come to the social events? Because we create this very comfortable, fun, integrity-driven environment for women to step into and meet men, create romance and courtship, plant those seeds, make dates, and for those who are unlucky at the end of the night to at least feel like, wow, what a great place. They love and appreciate me. I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to keep coming back. Sooner or later, I have a chance to meet somebody. All of the women who come to the socials watch women meeting men, and they watch those courtships and those relationships get started. They watch the attraction between people. They see how those couples get started at our social events, and they can see what we're trying to accomplish. We want the women to meet somebody, and the women come to our social events to meet you. That's the only reason they're there. It really is, guys. The champagne, the food that we serve, it's nice, but it's not something that women really can't have if they want. And no woman is going to come to a social event to sit and be, one of 300 women in the room when there are only 30 guys in the room just for the champagne and the hors d'oeuvres, right? The women come to our social event to meet you. That is why they're there. And they know that if they're not going to come to our social events to meet you, they're really limiting themselves in how they're going to meet somebody, because the vast majority of couples who are meeting in our program are meeting at our social events. So we host big social events. We make them a lot of fun. We pick our venues very carefully. And women come to meet you. We want to make it as easy and comfortable and fun for them to do that as possible. But you hear sometimes that sometimes women don't want to come to a social event. And that's fine. I mean, sometimes people choose not to go on a singles cruise. Sometimes people choose not to go to a party. And that's okay. Everybody has their comfort zone of how they're going to socialize or meet somebody. Sometimes women will decline to attend a social event, and that's all right. We'll still call them up for you and invite them to meet you for coffee or for dinner or something like that, more one-on-one. Hey, you know what? Some guys will choose to travel into one of our what we call singles clubs, where they're working directly with our staff. There's no tour, there are no socials. Some guys are more comfortable doing that, and that's okay too. It isn't so much that women won't come to a social event because they hate the socials, or they won't come to the social event because there's anything negative about the social. Some women are just more comfortable meeting somebody one-on-one, face-to-face, for coffee. Let's do that, and then let's go from there. And that's perfectly okay. Sometimes, look, women work 12-hour days, 14-hour days. Sometimes the women would love to come to a social, but they can't come to a social. It's hard to do that sometimes. So there may be reasons why women might decline to come to the socials. Most women are quite happy to come to our social events. And if they decline to come because work scheduling won't allow them, or they're just a little too, freaked out by so many women in the room, it's quite all right. We'll still find a way for them to get in front of you and for you to meet them. It's very, very important. And guys, quite honestly, young women are very, very popular at our social events, especially in Ukraine. And a lot of guys, whether they should or they shouldn't, have their eye on some of the youngest women at our social events. And sometimes you have women probably in their 30s and 40s who would like to meet men in their 50s and 60s, but the men are passing them up for women that are younger, and I think sometimes the older women are a little bit intimidated by that. So sometimes when a woman says she doesn't want to come to a social event, she might herself, even though she's beautiful and stunning, she herself might be just a little bit intimidated by that whole dynamic, and that's okay. The point is, there are so many women who want to come to our social events, and if you join us on any singles tour, we'll throw a darn good social to represent you really, really well, and you will have no problem meeting as many women as you want. Lots of romance will come out of that for you. A lot of work goes into those guys, but it truly is a labor of love to do social events. I love them. I really do. They're a lot of fun. So yeah. We're looking at some very recent video footage from some of our social events in Ukraine. And this is important because there will be more of them coming up next month in July. There'll be 6 socials in Ukraine in the month of July. I will be at all of them. I'll be leading you guys into Ukraine fearlessly. We will go and meet these beautiful women. And I'll tell you what, man, if you're sitting there right now and you're this close to getting on a tour with me, dude, you got to get over it and go. These opportunities are not going to be here forever. I'd like to think they are, but realistically speaking, there's no way they're going to be here forever. And, somebody somewhere is going to find a way to mess up a good thing. Probably some of our politicians, who knows. But right now, you have this opportunity to get on a plane and go with me and meet some of these beautiful women. Come on, seriously. All right, I want some more of your questions, guys. The green box above me, if you have questions, is great. Just click it and ask your questions. Jesse says, will you be coming to Colorado in the next year? I would love to go to Kiev, Ukraine. Realistically, it wouldn't happen until the end of the year, the beginning of next year. Tons of questions. Could I email you sometime? Jesse, yes, you certainly may email me sometime. We just did a seminar in Denver. I'm absolutely sure that we'll come back to Colorado sometime toward the beginning of next year. We're probably getting relatively close, though. I don't know. I mean, St. Louis, for example. We're doing Chicago and Milwaukee sometime in September. So we've got a few that are out there. Indianapolis is coming up. So maybe there's a way for you to catch a short flight to come out and see us. That would be absolutely great. So think about those options, those other currently scheduled seminars for you, Jesse. Otherwise, you may certainly email me, bud@loveme.com, with any of your questions, or we can talk anytime. Monday night. Every Monday night we do this, guys. And the first Wednesday of the month, excuse me, is this Wednesday, right? Yeah. So the first Wednesday of each month, we have Greg and Glenda, one of our great couples here in Phoenix. Glenda's from Davao in the Philippines. Greg's from Phoenix. And they're an incredibly cute couple. They just married not long ago, a few years ago. And beautiful little boy, lovely family, and we're lucky to have them in our sphere. And they, like the other gentlemen who I work with who are married to beautiful girls from the Philippines, just love to share their experience and answer questions and make sure you guys stay on the right path to go and meet somebody. So this Wednesday night, same time and same place, you can come back and ask your questions of Greg and Glenda. To learn more about the Philippines, if you have your eye on the Philippines, dude, you got to go. Tell you what, man, the girls in the Philippines have one huge advantage over everywhere we go. They speak English. Everywhere else that we go, you're probably 15, 20, maybe sometimes up to 40% of the women will speak English, right? My friend David says, I've been to socials in China, Ukraine, and recently Thailand. Would love to share with your audience the extreme comfort and security at the socials for both men and women. I think this is not expressed enough, says my good friend David. See you in Miami. Thanks, David. Appreciate that very much. It is really important. It's so important. It's critical that when we do a social event, men and women are comfortable meeting each other. They're comfortable in the venue. They're comfortable with their surroundings. There are interpreters available so people can meet each other and talk to each other as soon as they see each other and want to talk to each other. There is a steady, proper flow of refreshments coming. And believe me, guys, it's amazing. But we've been doing socials for a long, long time. We use a lot of the venues again and again because they're reliable. They get us. They know what we're trying to do. And if you join us in any of our tours around the world and come to our social events, I'm sure you'll be impressed. Dennis says, these girls look young. Any women in their 40s? Dennis, you know what? Some of these girls in their 40s look way younger than girls in their 40s. But absolutely, every social event that we do around the world, and certainly the ones in Ukraine, like the socials we're looking at, the women are going to be divided between women under 30 and women over 30. And there are lots of women in their 40s who come to our social events. And if you come to one of our social events or our tours in Ukraine, I'll help you meet them. It's very easy to find them and point them out to you. And you should totally do that. Andrew says, I understand that many men think these women are motivated by money and other things, and I know many other men found good women this way. That's true. What would you consider the best qualifying question to separate the two? You know what's great about women who are looking for money in this process? They don't wait. They'll hit you up right away. They will. If they're looking for money, they'll ask you for money. They don't wait and conduct a courtship and then spring it on you. If they want money, they'll ask you for it right away. But I got to be honest with you, that doesn't happen a lot. Sometimes I have guys who think that they can impress the women by throwing money at them, and you just shouldn't do that. But in reality, one great way that you can one first action that you can do to screen out anybody who might be there for other reasons is every tour that we do around the world, we'll tour the city, we'll show you 4, 5, 6 great restaurants for a date. We'll give you a list of them. Every date that you go on, just offer one of those 5 or 6 restaurants. And any girl who won't date you at a specific restaurant, don't date her. Simple as that. Now that doesn't happen very often. You know, usually on a tour, it's one guy on one date who, you know, maybe who ends up in a place where he'd rather not be and wasn't really comfortable with the date experience. But most of the time, guys, we'll give you a great list of restaurants. We'll eat at a few of them along the way so you're familiar with them. The hotels that we use in our cities around the world have great restaurants in them. That's one of the reasons we pick the hotels we pick, so that some of your dates can just happen in the hotel. Just go to the restaurant in the hotel and have a nice dinner or a nice lunch. You don't have to go very far. It's not hard to do, right? So honestly, the women who are there, if they are there for ulterior reasons, they usually show their stripes pretty quickly, my friend. I'm happy to report that most of the women that you're going to meet, the vast majority of them are good women with good hearts. They completely don't care where you go to lunch. They just want to have lunch with you, or coffee, or dessert, or whatever you're doing. Yeah. JR says, welcome back. Thank you, JR. Has the success rate of men doing individual club tours been similar to those doing the group tour? Yes. Interestingly enough, yes. We have probably the same number of men doing individual club packages, if you will, where there's no group involved. You're just working directly with our staff in a given city like Kiev or San Jose, Costa Rica. We have as many men doing that as we have men going on tours around the world in our groups, our predetermined group tours, if you will. and the success rate is about the same. It really comes down to not so much which format you choose, but how realistic you are. If you've got a realistic approach to what you're looking for, particularly around age difference, you're going to be fine. You're going to have lots of options, lots of dates, and you truly can be successful. The guys that get tripped up, sometimes, a lot of the time, quite frankly, it's usually an age difference thing. They're just stretching the boundaries a little bit farther than they probably should, and they'll come around at some point, sharpen their focus a little bit, and be just fine. Joe says, when are you going to show social videos of Costa Rica? That place has very beautiful ladies, and AFA is not giving them the attention they deserve. Joe, you are absolutely 100% correct. William says, what city does the upcoming tour of Kiev, Kharkov, Sumy start? It starts in Kiev, and it will finish in Kiev, actually. So I believe that's July 12th, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, William, so we start in Kiev, we'll go on to Kharkov, we'll go on to Sumy, and come back to Kiev on that particular tour. Mark says, will you or John be making any blogs? Haven't seen any new ones in a while. You know, the thing is, Mark, we cover a lot of stuff here on Monday nights, and we do a few blogs here or there, but to a certain extent, I don't want to oversaturate the topic. We find that our Monday night webcasts give a lot of great information, and then we rebroadcast them and archive them. So there's tons of really great archive stuff for you. Man, I got years of blogs that love me, right? And I hate to say it because it sounds kind of funny, but there's only so much stuff around international dating that you can talk about without repeating yourself. So I don't know that John and I are going to do a lot of individual blogs. I'm going to put my heart and soul into these Monday night webcasts for you, and I hope that's a lot of good, rich material for you, and I appreciate you very, very much, man. How about that, guys? Got a few minutes for a few additional questions if you would like. As I mentioned at the beginning, and we're now, by the way, looking at video footage from Nikolaev. Okay, if you're looking at this video footage from Nikolaev, you're seeing one of our great clients, I believe his name is Eddie, who's sitting there looking at, boy, I hope I got that right. Anyway, he's looking at, so the woman to his right, the blonde in the black jacket, totally 40-something. The woman to her right in the denim jacket, totally 40-something. The girl across the table from him has been to a few socials. I'm thinking late 30s, that's what I'm thinking. And the girl in the orange across the table, I'm betting is early 40s. So, and here's a girl in a white jacket who's probably early 40s, maybe late 30s. And yeah, I bet I'm pretty accurate on that. I don't know the women personally, but I've seen a lot of Ukrainian women, and I'm pretty good at guessing where they're at. So yeah, so anyway, there you go, guys. There are a lot of beautiful women that come to our socials in their 30s and 40s, and usually nobody's paying any attention to them at all, which is crazy, guys. Guys, we have international dating seminars coming up. They're free. They're 4 hours long. This is not the kind of thing where we lock you in the room and don't let you leave until you buy a timeshare or anything like that. It is truly an educational seminar. You know, it's interesting, and I'm very thankful for this, and I don't mind saying this. John and I, who do the seminars, John does his leg of seminars and I do mine, we take a very different approach to the seminars. There's a lot of common information. A lot of our seminars are just geared to answer your questions up front in a room with other guys who are interested in doing our tours. But John takes a different approach to his seminar, and I have a slightly different approach, I suppose. So, but John gives me the freedom to do that, and I think that's great. I mean, we're all here because of what we perceive, I suppose, what we do and how to do it effectively. So I spend a lot of time talking about why men come to the socials, you know, why women come to our format, you know, what motivates people to do that, what are we doing about our loneliness, the men, the women. And I talk a lot about the misinformation that's out there on the internet and how that kind of cripples us and how it causes us to pause and to stay put and to not get up and go and meet somebody. And I talk about a lot of the misunderstandings and misperceptions, and I break down some great factual information to back up the realities of the rewards of international dating. So we talk about a lot of really cool stuff. But if you come to my seminar or come to John's seminar, either way, you're going to be richly rewarded with a lot of really great how-to information to help you go and meet these women and be successful. So we got a ton of international dating seminars. I am doing one this Sunday in Baltimore, June 10th, 11 to 3. I'm doing another one June 23rd, which is a Saturday at Dana Point, California. It's actually San Clemente, but anyway, at the end of the month, on the 30th of June, I'll be in Miami, Florida, and on the 1st of July, I will be in Tampa, Florida, and that's a lot. And then right after that, on the 7th, we've got Indianapolis, and St. Louis on the 8th. How about that? That's a lot of stuff going on, and then we're away for 3 weeks doing the tours in July in Ukraine, which I'll be leading. So guys, look, come to the seminars, come out. If you're going to be in any of those areas, come out, meet us, get our information, get the seminar. It is a seminar. I will educate you, I promise you. You're going to leave my seminar feeling really pumped up, really happy to get this information, but you're going to have a little bit of a dull headache because I'm going to give you a college semester's worth of international dating information in 4 hours. And you're going to learn a lot. And you're going to be empowered and enabled to get up and go and meet these beautiful women, to put yourself right in the video that you're currently watching right now. Because that's what we do, all right? RSVP, bud@loveme.com if you want to come to any of those guys. I'd love to see you. Guys, I've been away, and I know you've missed me, so come on. I got time for a few more questions. Let's have them. A few more questions from you, and then we'll shine off, or something like that. Dominic says, so say that I flew out there and did a tour and it went good with a girl. If you invited them or invited her to come to the U.S., how often can they do that? How often do they like to do you guys propose to the girl on their first tour? Well, so basically, Dominic, first of all, guys, when you do a tour, you go, you meet somebody, you court, and you fall in love. That is the first goal. To find that person that you can fall in love with, who's ready to fall in love with you for all the right and healthy reasons. You are as attracted to her as she is to you, and the two of you have created this courtship, and you want to do something with it. You want it to go forward, you want to build it, and you want to create a love. You want to create a love relationship together. You know, I don't know that proposing on a first tour, if you will, makes sense. Sometimes it does. It just depends. We live in different parts of the world. It's not like you can come halfway around the world, you know, every day. And the women certainly realize that there's a sense of urgency around when we meet each other, taking action, planning that next step, making a commitment to each other as soon as it makes sense to do so. In most cases, you're going to apply for a fiancé visa for her to come to America so the two of you can get married. That's going to take, in most cases, about 6 months. Knowing it's going to take 6 months for her to get her visa to come to America in the first place, I think that it could, if you spend a lot of time together on your first tour, I think you could leave with a commitment to do that. And that's kind of like getting engaged, I guess, right? Because you're committing to each other to do the fiancé visa and see where that goes. It's not likely she's going to get a tourist visa and come to America to visit. It's not impossible, but it's really, really hard to do. More than likely, you're going to court each other. You're probably going back for a second trip, my friend. You're going to court each other for a while, 6 months, 8 months, a year. Then you'll get engaged. Then you'll get a fiancé visa for her. Then she'll come to the States and you'll get married. But from the time that you've met to the time that you and your girl actually stand at the altar and get married, the better part of a year will probably have gone by. This is not something that happens overnight, guys, but that actually enhances the experience for us, right? If we could get on a tour, go meet the women, put them on a plane and bring them back with us, the vast majority of women in the countries that we go to would never do that. They would think that's a completely crazy idea. They want courtship, they want true love, they want a true love relationship, and falling in love is definitely part of the deal. Nobody's getting married, nobody's getting engaged until they've fallen in love in most cases. So your first objective, Dominic, is to go meet somebody and fall in love. Create that courtship, somebody you can absolutely be in a monogamous, faithful relationship with. Create the focus together that you're going to move forward and be together as a couple, and then take it from there. And at some point, the two of you, because you don't want to be apart, will have to figure out how to be together. Most of the time, that involves getting engaged and doing a fiancé visa, right? And we've got some great resources to help you do that when the time comes. Great question, man. Thank you for that very much. All right, guys, how about it? We got a lot of stuff coming up between now and the end of the year. We got tons and tons of stuff coming up. We got dating seminars coming up, tours coming up, lots of good stuff for you. I'm hearing some rumors around the office of some pretty significant projects, guys. It's amazing to me that May has come and gone, and it's already June. I'm still wrapping my mind around that. And I'm still very much coming to terms with the fact that I haven't made anywhere near the amount of progress that I wanted to make on my personal goals for this year. And maybe you haven't either. Maybe you're sitting here thinking at the beginning of the year, we were sure that we'd be on a tour by now, or we'd be meeting somebody by now. We're not quite there yet. That's okay. There's plenty of time left. But I'll tell you what, if you get on a plane and come with me in July to Ukraine, or you travel to China, or travel to Costa Rica, or maybe the Philippines, visit our staff, work with them one-on-one, get those dates. There is plenty of time between now and the end of the year to meet somebody, fall in love, get a fiancé visa, and have her here by the end of the year, by the holidays, man. That would be an amazing turnaround of events wouldn't it? But it's very much possible with the time that we have. You certainly have the ability to get on the plane, put yourself in this exact video, meet some of these very women, find your love relationship, find your partner, find your life mate, your love mate. You definitely can do that. And I want to help you do that. So call us up, engage us, talk to us. Email me, bud@loveme.com. Come out to my seminar this weekend in Baltimore, next weekend in San Clemente, Dana Point, if you will, California, and at the end of the month in Miami and Tampa. And let's get you going, guys. What is better concerning the monetary situation? Here's the final question of the night. Well, maybe it is. Let's see. Should the denomination be changed here in the States, or is it better to change it in her country? When you're traveling to another country, guys, you can change your money at the airport in her country. You definitely will get the best rate there. I would do that. I don't think you need to change, for Ukrainian hryvnia here, if you will. I think you can change for money in your destination country when you arrive at the airport. Our staff can help you go to the places to exchange your money to get a really good rate. So that's a good question. I would probably just exchange the money over there instead of doing it here. Ryan is asking, what percentage of women who marry foreign men are single mothers? Good question. I have a feeling a good number of them are, Ryan. I really do. What the exact number is, I don't know. I'd be willing to guess at least 50% of the women who marry foreign men are single moms. That has a lot to do with the maturity of women who are able to finish this process. 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old girls, I don't see a lot of them getting fiancé visas. I don't see a lot of them applying for fiancé visas. They're young. I just don't see that a lot of them are ready to get on a plane and come here. The women who are 26, 28, 29, 30. These are women that have seen a lot, done a lot. They understand exactly why they're here. They understand why foreign men have value. They know why they're here in this realm, and they're ready to take the big leap if they find the right guy. And many of them have become single moms already. So 50%, maybe slightly more than that, of the women who do marry foreign men are single moms. And there are a number of reasons for that, but that's an interesting question, Ryan. I hope that's helpful. Hey guys, thanks for your questions. I hope you enjoy this webcast. I hope you understand a little bit more what our social events are around the world and why women would come to them, and even some of the very legitimate reasons why women might not come to them. More than anything, I hope you've enjoyed the video that we've showed you tonight of our social events, and I hope you can visualize how you can get in this video in front of these exact women, having those kinds of conversations and those kinds of interactions which lead to romantic dates with these very same women. Come to our international dating seminars, rsvp@loveme.com. Come on a tour with me to Ukraine in July. Have a great time. Great time, guys. Lots of romance, lots of beautiful women you're going to meet, and beautiful surroundings and great support staff. It's good to be back. We'll be back Monday night with another presentation for you. I owe everything to Kirk, who's amazing, so thank you, buddy. Appreciate you very much. Have a great rest of your week. Wednesday night, same time, same place, guys. We'll have a Philippine webcast and conference call for you to ask your questions of Greg and Glenda, our great couple from the Philippines. All right, guys, have a good rest of your week.